Okay, good up. I won't use the megaphone. It's pretty hard holding this and talking and squeezing hands. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's gathering as we continue our efforts here today to seek answers from Hekia Parata and what the hell is going on. We are all aware of these ridiculous proposals for education reform in Canterbury, and reality is, if we allow it to happen in Christchurch, it will over time be rolled out on unsuspecting schools and communities around New Zealand. The evidence has been presented that the ministry has made serious fundamental errors with the data both received and used as part of the process, and coming up with the proposals rolled out on September 13. But you have to hand it to the ministry. They've done a great snow job on schools and communities. Many principals in charge of the affected schools were away at a principals conference at the time the announcements were made. The dreaded letters were then delivered to the affected schools in the week leading into the start of the school holidays. That's a shame on them. A lot has transpired since then. Full credit to the Campbell Live team on TV3 for going into bat for battle-weary Cantabrians. He has shown up both the Ministry of Education and the Education Minister, yet they continue to stand rigid in their attitudes that these so-called proposals are just that, and an open and meaningful consultation is now taking place. Yeah, right. Hekia Parata stated on TV that she was looking forward to coming down and talking with Canterbury people.
Lies.
I can confirm that a formal invitation has been sent to Hekia to come and meet with us, but to date she has failed to respond. No surprise. She also stated to Campbell Live that she was only prepared to come onto his program to answer questions to relate to what she is responsible for. So why is she not prepared to answer questions relating to the proposals? She is the Minister of Education. The buck stops with her. Her ministry came up with the proposals, she made the announcements, and it will be her who makes the final decisions who stays and who goes. So we say to Hekia, front up now. Yeah! I have been reading a document produced by the Ministry of Education called Analysis of Submissions for Directions of Educational Renewal in Greater Christchurch. This was a primary document used when the proposals were put together, and studying it, one must wonder if they even bothered to read it in detail, or was their agenda already set. In the summary, it states that submissions called for the continued community engagement during the long journey of renewal. If this is to be a long journey of renewal, then why is there such a rush to have all affected schools to finish consultation with their communities and report it back to the ministry by December this year? What I am hearing is schools that have so many questions to ask the ministry that they need answers for before they can even think about talking to their communities. Yet the ministry has it all set up that if boards are seen to be trying to stall the process, the ministry can then deem them to be ineffective boards, use their powers to remove the board, and school commissioners who will then be given the job of carrying out the ministry's requirements. If this were to happen, we should all be very afraid. I've read through on this summary and like to make reference to Proposal 3.1. That is the plan educational provisions as a network of community shared campuses and facilities, and which leads to question 8, and that question was, how important is it to plan for fewer but larger schools, but where learners may get a richer experience, even if it means that children may have to travel further? This is a very veiled attempt to say, close and merge schools. This one question had the largest response of all questions asked during the proposals, with 844 respondents. From this, only 56 people agreed with this question, which is just 6.64% of all respondents. Yet from all the questions asked, this is the one that the ministry has ignored the response of the submitters. Two of the submissions that made interesting reading were, and I quote, I would argue that many of the children in Canterbury are very unsettled physically, emotionally, and need to be in a smaller school environment close to where they live, while knowing and feeling safe in their community. And how true is that? Yeah. Being able to send your child to, albeit a smaller school, is a very desirable and healthy thing for a small community to grow around. The school can be the lifeblood of the community, and we all know that is true as well. This is so true for so many communities. If they were to lose their school, they may well also lose their identity as a community. Nobody has a right to take that away from us. It seems rather ironic that other data used was around the loss of population in Christchurch, approximately 9,000, which means we have too much learning space available. Yet just 3 days ago, Statistics New Zealand came out with the information stating they were expecting a population growth in Christchurch over the next 20 years that will see an increase in the number of people in the greater Christchurch region of over 50,000 people. No doubt many of these will be families with children requiring education, so why close schools, when in the not too distant future we will need the learning space and most likely more schools as well. Rebuilding Christchurch is about exactly that, and Jerry Brownlee, as Minister in charge of rebuilding, needs to explain to us all, how can school closures and mergers be seen as rebuilding Christchurch? There are many agendas behind these proposals, and we have not had all the answers we require, but we all know that the government has a decision to bring in charter schools. This begs the question, is this an admission by the government that they have no confidence in their own Ministry of Education or the government education policies? Because if they did, why do they need to pay a private enterprise who would have the ability to make a profit out of this to take over and run schools? Schools are not a business and should not be run as such. Education is the birthright of every child who calls New Zealand home to have, and nobody should have that right to take away from their family the right as to where they choose to send them. This is totally unacceptable. We need to stop these proposals now. The rest of New Zealand will be looking to us to bring these proposals down, so we can then sit down and work in a meaningful partnership with the ministry to decide together what is best for education both in Christchurch and New Zealand. That is also inclusive of the communities and will help us retain our identities, and most importantly be working in the best interest of the most vulnerable, and that is the future generations of young people. Together we can make a difference for education that will benefit all New Zealand. Nobody is arguing about the fact that we need to make changes, and today we say that working partnership starts here, and it starts with a clean slate with open and meaningful dialogue. We need to be open and honest, and at the end of the day, if we can sit back together having reached a general consensus that will see benefits for schools, communities, and most importantly our kids, then we know New Zealand as a country will be all the better for it. But until that time comes, then the message is clear. Hekia, hands off our schools, our kids and our communities. You can do nothing about us without us. Thank you. Okay, George, wants to say a few words. George is a member of the Indian community here in Christchurch.
Thank you, Wayne. Greetings and good afternoon, all of you, especially our kids, for coming over and taking an extra mile in keeping this protest going. We know if you look in the newspaper last couple of days, you can see what is this Hekia's plan. Probably sorry. I don't know, you know this woman. Her name is April Parata. She was a teacher. She's a sister of our Minister Hekia Parata. You should know, in April 2012, just a few months ago, this April Parata was appointed as the Deputy Secretary of Education, the third position in the Ministry of Education. Another lady was appointed just at the last month of last year. Her name is Leslie Langstone. She was appointed at a salary of $660,000 a year, while April Parata was appointed at a salary of $433,000. These three women, Hekia Parata, her sister April Parata, and the CEO lady Leslie Langstone, these three women run the education in New Zealand. I would say they are running a regime in New Zealand. Now we are all here. This is maybe third or fourth protest asking to stop closing down our school. We don't want any more discussion, Ms. Parata. We want to stop your agenda as such and let our schools go. Now we are all here at the office of the Earthquake Recovery Minister, Mr. Brownlee. I don't know whether Mr. Brownlee is here. I would request, if you are an elected minister, Minister Brownlee, just come out and talk to us. Our kids are here. On behalf of all of you gathered here, I would like to ask Mr. Brownlee, are you the recovery minister? What sort of recovery you are doing? Are you just worried about recovering the broken buildings or recovering the broken lives of Christchurch people, including these kids? On behalf of all of you, I would remind Mr. Brownlee, until and unless you stop your plan closing down our schools, we will keep this fight going until we get there. Thank you.
Okay, we've got time. We've got an open forum here, so if anybody else would care to come up and say a few.
Thank you everyone for coming along today. I'm Principal of Burnham School. Our community is very, very passionate about keeping our school. We serve a very, very unique community. No, we serve a very unique community. We provide a huge amount of support for our soldiers and their families when soldiers are overseas, looking after their children and their partners when they're left behind in New Zealand. So thank you very much for coming out and helping to support our school, and we'll keep soldiering on together and save our schools. Thanks.
Thanks everyone. I'm a teacher myself. My name's Chris. I'm from Scotland. I came over here 11 years ago and I saw what happened in the United Kingdom under Margaret Thatcher. If you look at the education in the United Kingdom now, it is a disgrace, and I don't want that to happen here. And as my poster said, let's get to the root of the problem. Urge your friends, urge your family, don't vote for these people, because they are not for the ordinary working men and women of New Zealand, and they certainly do not have our children's future in mind. So get rid of National, get to the root of the problem. They're not your friend. So thanks for coming along, guys.
Demand a snap election.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jackie Freeman. I'm the board chair at Burnham School, but I'm also a teacher at Mackenzie Residential School. So I'm actually getting a double whammy. I've got my children's school on the proposed closure, and I'm out of a job at the end of the year when they're putting behaviour kids that need specialist education back into regular schools. And so this government just seems to be ignoring the needs of children all over the place. So thanks for coming out, and need to remember that also the behaviour schools have been targeted in all this mess as well. Thank you.
Okay, give me an yes. Yes. Give me a no. No. Give me an yes. Yes. What's that say? Same as school. Can't hear you. Was I saying? Same as school. One more time. Same as school.
Do you want to ring that number and do some chanting on the phone, Jerry?
Set up in and around Canterbury schools that you all hold a special place in the educational landscape of Christchurch, and we stand beside you as equally as we stand beside every school affected by these proposals. We all know that each and every school affected by these proposals has a place within our educational landscape, because they are making a difference, and they can continue to make a difference in the lives of so many children, while also helping to bring together communities that share and care about what is happening. These communities are the lifeblood that make a city thrive. And while the earthquakes may have broken our city, they most certainly have not broken our spirits or our communities.
Yeah.
If anything, these earthquakes have galvanised us, and we are the stronger for it. So Hekia, if you want to continue with these proposals, then you better have more than the ministry and the flawed data to back you up. Because we, the People's Republic of Christchurch, have the People's Republic of Christchurch backing us. Stay strong, Canterbury. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your remaining time of the school holidays, and as we say, watch this space. Thank you very much. Go forward, spread the word. We will be back even bigger and stronger once the holidays are over. Thank you very much, and for your time here today.
Outside.